Libra, high spirits and high hopes for July. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello all, I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive and welcome to your Transformational Tarot reading for July. And this is part of my Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life series. So excited to have you guys here. So we are going to this month pull an overarching theme card from the Sweet Ass Affirmations deck ×2. And then we are going to pull cards from the Star Tarot from Kathy McClelland. And I apologize, I don't have the box with me. The box is in a box somewhere. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's what we got coming down the pike. I feel like this month, when we are talking about July, there's a lot that's going to be transpiring and swirling around you. And it's important for you to really think about your vision, staying true to your vision. You're going to have a hard time about a lot of the changes that are occurring. But I just keep hearing that you need to stay, keep your eye on the prize. It's about focus for you. I am my own source of happiness. My relationships are a bonus. Oh my God, that's just exactly what I was saying. When we talk about happiness, we often say happiness is a choice. And quite frankly, that has been around for so long that, it's a platitude now. People are like, yeah, happiness is a choice. But if you actually sit in that for a second, you give that some thought and say, okay, what does that actually mean if happiness is a choice? What it means is you get to choose it. It comes from within you. And if we are our own source of happiness, if we're owning our choice to be happy or to choose happy, then everything on top of that is a bonus. I do feel, because the relationships being a bonus is being highlighted, there are going to be certain relationship situations that are popping up and popping through for you at this time. And what I keep hearing really clearly is don't get too caught up in the people pleasing. Be more in a space of, is this bringing me happiness and joy at this time? If the answer is no, then I'm going to stop this conversation and, said with love, let's come back to it when, we're both in a better space. Or I'm not feeling, this particular interaction, so I'm going to stay in tonight instead of going out. Whatever it happens to be, I feel like the message here is about not people pleasing. All right. So with that in mind, where are you right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? 9 of Wands. Okay. So when we're talking about the 9 of Wands, we're really focusing on, I'm hearing here, there is some resilience that's been going on, but I'm also hearing control. And I feel like that's the sort of the message. That's the big focus and the big key right now is the control factor. Where are you trying to control things that are either not your business or out of your control? Where are you trying to resolve another person's problems, another person's drama, another person's dilemma? What's really interesting here is, Libra, and I'm a Libra rising, so I say this to myself as well. It's represented by the black and the white dog here. So the extremes puts us in mind of our card, which is the Justice card. So there are always two sides, and we tend to look to the extreme of either way, either end, for guidance on what needs to be. And I'm hearing here that while you are in your present moment right now, a lot of what your present moment is showing you is that you've been caught up in the extremes. And if we go back to sort of this people-pleasing energy, I feel like what this is saying is you're not feeling balanced. You are feeling exhausted because you've had to, or you've maybe not been fully aware of the fact that you've been choosing to put others' needs before your own. You've been choosing subconsciously or otherwise to resolve situations, problems, dramas that are not yours to solve. And one of my favorite sayings ever and always from an old friend is, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." And I feel very much that even though this is your present moment, because it's a 9, you're also coming to the end of that. And what I love about this particular depiction is that the robe is, creating the negative space for the body. We see his head, we see his arms, but we don't actually see the body. What we see is the galactic universe, right? The cosmic energy. And I feel like this is a reminder to you that all of this stuff in the physical world, the extremes, the tangible, the things that seem like a big deal, maybe not so much. It's about going back to your galactic roots, going back to your center and your core. Who am I really? I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and I get to choose how that particular human experience goes, or I get to choose how I engage with this particular human life experience. So I feel like in your present moment, you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. You might be feeling fried, burned out, going, "Oh my God, like I don't think I can do one more." And yet, okay, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to drive myself. This person needs me. This person is running into themselves at this point, and at least I can help with that. I say caution on that. Where are you people pleasing instead of really taking care of yourself? 9s are endings, conclusions, resolutions. And I feel like you're coming to the end of that cycle. And for some of you, this might not resonate for all, but for some of you, there's a particular relationship that has been, I want to say, just a time sucker for you, especially in the last couple of weeks. And I want to say it's time to cut that shit out. This wand is being lit through the moon energy. Moon energy is a time of rest. It's a time of intuition. The sun is, all in, the action oriented. You're being invited to fill your love cup, to be in service from, I want to say, the divine feminine perspective, which is receiving, observing, loving, nurturing, rather than the very action-oriented motivation and choice and, moving forward and all of the things and the stuff. So all of that, I feel, can be dissolving from your life, but you have to choose it, right? I am my own source of happiness. Okay. Excuse me. The catalyst. What's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Oh my goodness. Here we have the Ace of Swords. So interesting. I feel like you're getting stuck in someone else's potential. That's exactly what I'm hearing. And not to say that this whole reading is going to be about you and relationship, but perhaps it is, because it's a reminder this month that you are your own source of happiness. Relationships are just a bonus. So there is focus on this energy. And I feel like there is some energy here that you're sticking onto someone else, or someone is sticking it onto you, that you are in maybe a little battle, someone else's battle, where they're presenting their potential. They're telling you with their words, that they want to reach their potential, and you are now hook, line, and sinker invested in helping that person or helping that situation, that scenario. This could be a work situation as well, a project that has such potential. But when you run into people who block that path, people who get in their own way, the truth of it, the Ace of Swords, the truth of it is they're not really ready to make those shifts and those changes. And the message I keep getting here is you can't solve that problem. You can't fix that for them. I feel very much here like this Ace of Swords. I mean, it can be a catalyst. It can also it can hinder you or it can help you. Right now, I feel like it's hindering you, but because we're discussing it, because we're looking at it, you now have that awareness. You have the enlightenment, the aha, and you can say, okay, new way of thinking here, new approach, new way to communicate that. And I want to say, because you are a person who is in service with that 9, you are relationship based. You do want to leave people better off than you found them. I would say flip the script, use this as fuel, not because you are going to get in there and do the thing for the person, but step more into the space of, I'm happy to help you out. I will teach you how to do it for yourself, or I will give you the guidance or the wisdom or the empowerment or the instructions or the ingredients. I'll give you the recipe, but then it's up to you as to whether or not you're going to do something with it. And I feel like that's exactly what this is here. So it can be fuel. Right now it's resistance, but it can be rocket fuel for you. It's about looking at it from a slightly different perspective and remembering that you're still helping, and you're helping even more so than if you were to step in and do it yourself. Yeah, there are times when it is really beneficial, and you know that person is so grateful because they might not have been able to do it for themselves, and then they stick with it, right? Then you know, okay, I've done a good thing. But if you keep running into this person, or this situation where they say a lot of things, but their actions, indicate something else, well, then you're just wasting your time. So potential, don't fall for the finding someone's potential or helping someone to find their potential and waiting for them to find their potential. Nope. No more of that. Thank you so much. Moving on. Come another day. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? You're a little under the weather. You're not feeling well. I'm getting with this, like it could be a sort of like your mental health is not up to par. This could be your emotional health. You might be in a little bit of a dysfunctional or a codependent pattern here. It could be physically you're worn down, or energetically you're drained, but you're not fully aware of it. And so what's transpiring is because you're worn down, your defenses are down, your boundaries are down, you don't have the energy to resist, to say the no, to look at the situation for what it is. It's kind of like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll just say yes, because I don't have the energy to fight or to argue or to even give myself the time to think about it. My head hurts, right? Like, I just don't want to deal with it. And I feel like when we're talking about like deep root, this is sort of a subconscious trigger. I'm feeling like whatever this circumstance is right now, you've been here before. It's looked a little bit different. It's been wrapped in a little bit of a different package, but you're not making the correlation. You're not connecting the dots. And I feel like Queen of Cups is coming up and coming through to say it might be worth doing a little bit of a scorpionic dive to say what actually is going on here. Why am I feeling so tired? Or why am I people pleasing? Why am I, stepping in and saying yes to this thing when I've already made a commitment to myself prior to this to say no to things like this? Why am I saying yes when it's not even something that I enjoy? Why do I feel the need to dive in and help, or to dive in and fix, or to dive in and participate? The scorpionic deep dive is going to give you, I want to say, the clarity around the previous triggered experience, the previous trauma moment, or the previous circumstance that is fueling, or is, I want to say, like smoldering under the surface. Our deep roots are tricky because they affect us without us even knowing that we're being affected by it. We can be very logical and rational and self-aware and, recognizing, all the things, saying all the right things, understanding the psychology behind all of it, getting to knowing exactly what we need to do, and yet we're unable to do it, or we're finding ourselves in these patterns. And I feel like this wants to come up and be seen. And it's a small thing. In the grand scheme of things, when you look at this and you figure out what the originating circumstance is, the situation is that is coloring your choices, you're going to be like, oh my God. Okay. Well, that's easy. I get that. Thank you. Like, I feel like what this is going to be is when you do the scorpionic deep dive, you're seeking it out, right? You're seeking the answer. Then the answer shows up, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's easy. Now that I've become aware of it, now that I've witnessed it, I'm good. I've healed it. I'm done. So the scorpionic deep dive is not where you have to stay for a long time. You're not going to wade in the waters of it. You're there to snorkel or to scuba dive for one particular thing. And when you find it, then you're out. You don't need to stay there any longer. So that's really positive news around that, because this is basically indicating for you that you're not going to have to sit in it. It's not something you're going to have to process and work through and, why am I doing this and why am I doing that? And no. It's okay. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense to me. And so now I just need to think about things in a different way. And that's what I feel this is going to bring to you. So giving you a little bit of structure around what's going on, the clarity is there, and now you can move forward. Now you understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. This is your past. What's dying away? What part of you is dying away? What role pattern or identity has run its course? Well, we've talked a lot about the people pleasing, so I feel a lot of that coming up. 10 of Pentacles, I'm hearing family. A family pattern or cycle that has been influencing you, has been creating a certain level of expectation in your life. For some of you, I feel that's going to be a physical person. I'm hearing mother energy, or a sister that acts like a mother, or a brother that feels like they need to mother you, whatever the case may be. Mother figure. For some of you, it might not have anything to do with mother at all, but I am getting mother, so I'm going to pass that information on. And what I'm really feeling here is it's about honoring where you've come from, acknowledging it, maybe writing a letter, maybe having a little conversation, just saying, I see you, I appreciate you, for everything that you've done for me. And then release any kind of guilt or obligation. Like, it almost feels like there's in servitude, or like you've signed a contract and, you one time in 1986 failed to live up to a portion of that contract, and you've been beating yourself up over it ever since. And so as a result of that, there's a kind of an uneven exchange between you and this person. And P.S. and FYI, a mother figure, a mother type energy can be in a man as well as a woman. It's not gender specific. It's more divine masculine and divine feminine that we all have within our bodies, and how we choose to show up in the world. So I feel like what is coming up here, especially when we're talking about the past and what is dying away, it's this idea that, you're bonded to this person in this kind of guilty way or unhealthy way for life. You've always got to sacrifice or, do more or, be more for this person. You cut this person more slack than perhaps they deserve because of this thing that, quite frankly, you've paid for it years ago, right? Like, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, moving on. And for some of you, this person, I feel, knows that they push that button. For others of you, they don't know that is why you are maintaining relationship with them in the way that you do. But this is about you really paying attention to that, because I feel like when we're talking about this pentacle energy, you're in a space and a place where you're saying, is this really what I want to be bringing to the surface? Is this how I want to be leading? Is this serving what it is that I'm creating in my life right now? So there's going to be a lot of realization this month for you, Librans, in regards to why I make these particular decisions in this particular relationship. And do I need to continue to do that? And I feel like it is kind of tied to your Venus. It's tied to a little bit of value and worth, but it's also tied to you giving yourself permission to let go of old contracts. Even if you wholeheartedly agreed to that contract, years ago, and you were, my word is my bond, but things have changed. Let it go. Evaluate if it's really still serving you. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're cutting that person out of your life necessarily. It could mean that. But it could also just mean that you're not people pleasing in that regard anymore. You're giving yourself permission to say no, or to have boundaries, to say this, but here, but no further. I feel a lot of that energy coming up here. And, you're ending a cycle, and 10 is a new beginning based on an already established cycle or foundation or pattern. So there's definitely this leaving something behind, and in your new now, you're establishing something new, and you're recognizing, I need to kind of shift what this is, because this isn't the energy that I want to be sitting in. It's not healthy for me. Here's your Phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? And this is potential breakthrough for this month. I love this, Prince of Swords. So in this deck, princes are kings. Are not kings. Princes are pages. Oh my God, I'm all over the map. Princes are knights. Princesses are the pages. I digress. Okay, so we have a Knight of Swords. And when we're talking about that highest potential for you, I feel like the energy that you're tapping into here is that energy of complete decision. And it's instant decision. A lot of times the Knight of Swords gets a bad rap for being too impulsive, for being not hot-headed. That's actually the Knight of Wands more so, but like just being very quick to judge and let's go and do this. But in this situation, I feel like that's exactly what you need. It's not about, and I'm not talking about the traditional stereotypical Libra who's wishy-washy and has a hard time making decisions. Again, I'm a Libra rising. I feel more Libra than I do my sun sign. So this is a message for me too. This isn't sort of about the wishy-washy. This is more about I'm not going to worry about how my decision affects everyone else around me. I've been doing that for too long, and I'm getting out of that energy. My highest potential is giving myself the permission and the respect, giving myself the respect to feel a thing and to act upon that thing without having to do the mental gymnastics and the emotional gymnastics to figure out how the rest of my world is going to, survive and thrive in it. And what I love about this particular depiction is we have the moths, not butterflies, but moths. Moths represent a transformation just as a butterfly does, but they transform at night. It's a nocturnal thing. So they're transforming in moonlight energy, whereas butterflies transform in sunlight energy. So again, I come back to, we were talking about you sitting into the moon and recharging, getting your heart light recharged by the moon energy. This is another nod to that, saying that this transformation can be softer. It is connected to the divine feminine. But I want to say it's kind of like the warrior goddess, divine feminine, where, you've got this beautiful red cloak. So there's a lot of, root chakra energy. I feel safe. I feel secure. When we feel safe and secure, then we can absolutely make a decision for ourselves without having to do, like I said, mental gymnastics or emotional gymnastics just to do something for ourselves that we really want. So this is what you're stepping into. I feel that Knight of Swords is an ally for you this month. And that is that Phoenix potential that you're stepping into. That's the transformational journey and where you're headed. What's emerging? What's emerging just around the corner, and what energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? We have the Hierophant. You being your own guide. I am my own source of happiness. Yes, the Hierophant can be tradition, a teacher, getting stuck sometimes in the ritual of things, doing a ritual for the sake of the ritual, not necessarily for the wisdom or the learnings, but it can also be about passing on wisdom and teaching and learnings. It's a 5. Change is coming. Transformation is here. Transformation is at hand. When we're talking about what's emerging, I feel like this is you relying more on yourself and your own choices, talking about that Knight of Swords energy. You now are feeling like, yeah, no, I do have that. It doesn't have to be impulsive. It's not about impulsivity. It's about giving myself permission to not have to agonize over every freaking choice that I make in order to feel like, okay, this is the right path forward. The Hierophant says, I've got all the wisdom within me. It's about giving myself permission to access it. And in this particular card, he's putting his finger on a heart. Let me just lift that up for you guys so you can see that more closely. Here's a heart. You know, there are different symbols all around his labyrinth. He's pushing on the heart, and the light of the heart is connecting the dots on everything. And of course, we have a peace dove in the middle. So I feel like what's emerging for you is the recognition that you have a lot more wisdom than you give yourself credit for. And this is the time now to really embrace and embody that. I almost want to say to you, this is about tuning out the world, tuning out the need to maybe have a sounding board or go to that person that always gives you the right information or the right guidance. You can do that for validation or no, I take that back. Not for validation. You can go for confirmation once you've made the decision and you're in the process of it. Then you can do your usual ritual or routine of checking in with those people that you trust. And it's not because they're not trustworthy. It's because you are giving yourself permission to transform in this way. You already have all of this stuff. This is about trusting self. And I feel like that's what the Hierophant is coming through. That's what's emerging for you. This is the breakthrough. Wow, I trust myself. I knew that, or I felt that. And I didn't need to worry about how everyone else was going to react or respond. I just did it. And I feel really good about the shift and the change as a result. Yeah, really, I feel like Libra, this is a month where you're really coming into your own. And there's a lot of confidence building that's happening for you. And even in those areas where you already feel quite confident in what you're doing and who you are, that confidence is just going to be solidified. You know, I want to say this is a month of fortification for you on an internal level, but like, yes, you're internalizing this, you're processing, you're integrating, but you're going to be externalizing it like almost immediately. So I want to say it's kind of like the infinity sign, the chicken or the egg. Is it the internalization or the externalization that comes first? Like they're symbiotic in this particular path for you. Your role. What part are you playing in your own life? How are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Ooh, the star. Okay, so you need to really be in a space. Well, you don't need to do anything. Let me change my languaging around that. Tisk tisk, Stacy. Tisk tisk. What needs to be considered? What you can consider in this whole path is that you are the rising star. It is your time that you're stepping into right now. The only person that can stop the rising star, stop that energy, stop that momentum, stop that vision is you. Look at all these butterflies that are around you. And there's even a little moth here. And you're doing it from the light of the moon, right? The night, the star comes out at night. This is about you saying, my visions matter. My desires matter. My intuition, my prophecy matters. And maybe it's in relation to somebody else, but really what this is about is it's being in relationship to self. So what did I say earlier? It's about trusting yourself, right? The Hierophant, trusting yourself. When you trust yourself, then the star becomes a thing. It transforms from simply the vision, the intangible, and it transforms into the real. And I feel like that's the role that you're playing. And what's interesting too is, I mean, the star card, she's often depicted naked. And I like that because it's like a full rebirth. You are hiding nothing from yourself. You are not ashamed of anything. You're recognizing that your vulnerability that comes from not knowing how the thing is going to turn out or play out is a strength in this situation. Also, I just heard the word baptism, and that's weird. That's usually like I'm not a religious person, so the baptism thing usually doesn't come out of my mouth, but let's call it like an initiation, which is actually the Ace of Cups. It's like you're going into your own Ace of Cups here. And it's because of what you have closed the door on. It's because of what you have released and what you're stepping into in the new. So I feel like you're your own pope, you're your own priest, you're your own shaman, you're your own spark of light, spark of the divine. And that's really what is transpiring here. And I want to say, give yourself permission to have fun with it. Like, it's not only just all right, I'm ready for this initiation, let's get her done. Because sometimes you can be in that mode too. No, it's not enough to just say, okay, I've arrived, let's do this. It's more about let me savor the moment. Let me feel the silkiness or the velvety feeling of the water on my bare skin, feeling the experience of all of that under that starlight, under that vision that is now becoming. We could talk a lot about manifestation, co-creation, all of those things. Yes, that's a big part of it. But I want to say this is like you're stepping into the pool because you're rebirthing you, and you're doing it in a very intentional way. Dare I say, from a Hierophant perspective, you could even say, I'm being ritualistic in this new initiation that I'm stepping into. And part of the ritual is being completely open and vulnerable to myself so that I can absorb more of that star energy to help me manifest, to bring into the now what it is that I am choosing to create, because it makes me happy. Wow. Supports, your circle of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it a positive or a negative experience? Interesting, another 5. 5 of Cups. So I'm going to say to you, Librans, not everybody is going to be happy with your choices right now. Not everyone is going to want you to become this thing, to initiate yourself. Not everybody is going to want you to break with tradition. And I'm going to say, when you're working in this vein and working in this mode, excuse me, I had cheese last night and I love cheese. My body does not like cheese. So this is what happens. And now I'm paying the price. This dynamic that we spoke of here in the 10 of Pentacles may be influencing this. But what I want to say to you here with the circles of support is, if you're running into individuals who are trying to stop you from finding your joy, your happiness, your hope from the initiation, then you want to really ask yourself what role you've been actually playing for them, because it's different than the role that you thought you were playing. And it's not about, torturing yourself or saying, oh my God, this person never valued me, or I've been used. I mean, some of those things might be coming up. They might become that resonance with you in that moment. But trust and know that it's their grief and their loss. It's not yours, and you don't need to own it. You don't need to claim it. It's not yours to claim. What I'm seeing here is this is the you. This is what you've initiated yourself into. And this is other people that are kind of left out in the cold, or just choosing not to understand, or choosing to purposely not hear you. And, they're the ones with their emotions spilling out all over the place. It's not your responsibility, not my circus, not my monkeys. It's not your responsibility to clean up the mess. And perhaps that's what this whole thing is about for you. I'm initiating myself so that I'm not having to clean up everybody else's messes. I can be cognizant and intentional about assisting, but I don't have to always be beholden to everyone who's making up their own messes. So there may be a little bit of conflict with people in your life, or with a particular project that you're recognizing, I don't want to do it anymore, or I don't want to do it in this way anymore. The classic is that you've decided you're done with your job. You're ready to move on because you've been waiting for so long to be seen, that you finally put in your notice, and all of a sudden everybody is jumping through 57,000 hoops to try and keep you. And they're putting the guilt on, can you just stay until the end of the project, and all the things and the stuff. They're not doing that because they necessarily value you. They're doing it because they're trying to cover their own ass, because they're recognizing, I have not valued you in proper ways up to this point. And now you've hit your limit. And I'm once again not honoring your boundaries. I'm once again not valuing what it is that you're bringing to the table. I'm not paying attention to what it is that you need. So this is about the other in response to, or reaction to, your initiation. And I'm going to say, sucks to be them. Too bad, so sad. Too bad, so sad. And don't feel guilty about it. Really, don't feel guilty about it. Wow, this is a really long reading. Sorry, Libras. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? So another knight. Oh, the Knight of Wands. So we were talking about the Knight of Wands as well. So here we have the Prince of Swords and Prince of Wands. Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands. So I really feel like you're worried about other people's anger, other people's reactions, just as we talked about. Sorry, right here, just as we were just talking about. You're worried about other people's reactions. You're worried that other people are going to rain on your parade. You're concerned that others might try to put a stop to what it is. And for some of you, I feel like the fear comes from waiting for the other shoe to drop. The story that you might be telling yourself is, whenever I choose me, whenever I put myself first, bad things happen. It never comes to pass. Don't speak it too soon, until it happens. And I feel like this Prince of Wands is coming through, especially with this beautiful dragon. It's almost got that strength card energy. And you've got the unicorn. There's nothing but power in the magic. So you want to really lean into your own magic around this. You want to lean into your uniqueness. You want to lean into what you have been feeling pulled to or drawn to for a long time. This unicorn is coming out of the forest, the world, right? And crossing over. And it's not about crossing over the rainbow bridge, by the way. So I just recognize that could be taken that way. I don't feel like there's any death here of people or anything like that. What I'm seeing here is the unicorn is saying, okay, I've been trying to bring my magic to the earthly plane, but it's time for me now to kind of step into my own power a little bit. This feels a little like a starseed message, stepping into your starseed or your light worker energy, rising above the spaces and places that are having difficulty receiving your magic, receiving your light. And it's not about judgment. It's just simply about, okay, I'm ready to move on to something else. I'm going to go where my light is respected, is loved, is wanted, is desired, is received. Simple as that. All right, and now we are at our outcome. If you stay on course, who will you be on the other side of this journey? What is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? Oh, union with yourself, better, healthier relationships, joy, happiness, and fun when we're looking at these beautiful dolphins. And I want to say fresh perspective and new ideas. And this is, again, being connected to the moon. Obviously, you've got a lot of sun and moon, balance, but there's been a lot of moon messaging for you. And I feel like that's exactly what you're stepping into here. The death and rebirth cycle is, this is right after the Ace of Cups, which is initiation. And I was talking a lot about the initiation with the star, which is an Aquarius card, by the way. So beating to the tune of your own drum is what's necessary here. It is what's important now in order for your frequency to match where you're going and growing. And as a result of that, you're going to attract to you the people, places, and things that you need or that match you, that are going to help you to accelerate and achieve your own personal goals. So July, I feel, is, quite frankly, it's all about you shedding that people-pleasing energy. You're going to be doing a lot of work in your relationships, but really it's about the relationship with self. And I would say it's trusting yourself, because when you trust yourself, all of your other relationships are going to improve drastically. And there's a union and a harmony that happens. Wow. So that, Libra, is your reading for July of 2025. Holy shitballs is all I have to say. Can't wait to see how this goes for you. Make sure you put some comments in the comment section. Let me know how this transformation is going for you. And just know I'm going to be right there with you. That's, this is my wheelhouse here too. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, how, who, what, how, where is this all going to happen? As always, sending you guys so much love. I hope you have the most amazing month, and we will see you for another Aligned Astro Chat through my Black Feather Code Tour, Divining a VIP Life, and Transform Well.